Q.8 Provisions given in Fundamental Rights for the Ideal of Socialism. 1. Conceptual Introduction. Socialism, as embodied in the preamble of the Indian Constitution, added by the 42nd Amendment in 1976, expresses the commitment of the Indian Republic to build a social order founded on equality, justice, and the elimination of exploitation. It is not socialism in the rigid Marxist sense of state ownership of all means of production, but rather a democratic and welfare-oriented socialism, one that harmonizes individual freedom with collective welfare. The fundamental rights, when read as a whole, are not only instruments of liberty but also mechanisms to promote social and economic justice. They translate the ideal of socialism from a philosophical vision into enforceable rights ensuring equality, dignity, and protection against exploitation. 2. The constitutional vision of socialism. The Indian version of socialism seeks to achieve a balance between liberty and equality. It does not suppress private enterprise, but ensures that economic power does not become concentrated in a few hands. The fundamental rights, alongside the directive principles of state policy, aim to dismantle oppressive social hierarchies, provide opportunities to the marginalized, and guarantee a dignified life to every individual. Thus, the socialist ideal permeates the Constitution, not through state ownership alone, but through the realization of social and economic democracy. I. Fundamental rights reflecting the socialist ideal. 3. Right to equality, Articles 14 to 18. Equality forms the cornerstone of socialism, and Articles 14 to 18 directly embody this principle. Article 14 guarantees equality before the law and equal protection of the laws, ensuring that every individual, regardless of status, stands equal before the state. This provision destroys the feudal notion of privilege and upholds the socialist principle of equal treatment. Article 15 prohibits discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, thereby striking at the roots of social inequality. Article 16 ensures equality of opportunity in public employment, promoting merit and preventing hereditary or caste-based exclusion. Article 17 abolishes untouchability, a bold socialist measure ensuring social equality and human dignity for historically oppressed communities. Article 18 abolishes titles that create artificial distinctions among citizens, symbolizing equality of status and social honor. Together, these provisions aim to eliminate structural inequalities, affirming that democracy without equality is hollow. 4. Right to freedom, Articles 19 to 22. The socialist vision is not merely about economic parity, but also about personal liberty and freedom from oppression. Article 19 guarantees essential freedoms: speech, assembly, association, movement, residence, and occupation, enabling individuals to participate in social and economic life without domination or exploitation. The freedom to choose one's occupation, Article 19, 1g, aligns with socialist ideals by ensuring that every person can work and earn with dignity, though subject to reasonable restrictions in the public interest. Article 21, as expanded through judicial interpretation, further deepens the socialist character by recognizing the right to livelihood, education, health, and shelter, transforming formal liberty into substantive welfare. Article 22 provides procedural safeguards against arbitrary arrest, protecting individuals from state abuse, a key concern in any socialist democracy where the state wields vast powers. 5. Right against exploitation, Articles 23 to 24. This set of rights directly embodies the economic dimension of socialism. Article 23 prohibits traffic in human beings, begar, forced labor, and other similar forms of exploitation. It ensures that no individual's labor is extracted without fair compensation, striking at the very core of feudal and capitalist exploitation. Article 24 prohibits employment of children below the age of 14 years in factories, mines, or hazardous occupations. This provision safeguards children's rights and promotes social justice by preventing the economic exploitation of minors. These articles operationalize the socialist goal of protecting human dignity, ensuring that labor is respected and not treated as a commodity. 6. Right to freedom of religion, Articles 25 to 28. Although primarily related to secularism, these rights also reflect socialist ideals by promoting equality of all religions and preventing exploitation in the name of faith. By ensuring freedom of conscience and prohibiting forced conversions or discriminatory practices, they uphold the idea of equal moral worth of all individuals, a key socialist value of fraternity and human solidarity. 7. Cultural and educational rights, Articles 29 to 30. Socialism in the Indian sense is not opposed to cultural diversity, rather, it protects minority groups from domination and ensures inclusiveness. Article 29 guarantees the right to preserve distinct cultural and linguistic identities, while Article 30 allows minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. By doing so, the Constitution ensures equitable access to education and cultural development for all sections of society, contributing to social equality and harmony. 8. Right to constitutional remedies, Article 1932. Article 32, described by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the heart and soul of the Constitution, makes fundamental rights enforceable through the judiciary. This ensures that socialist principles are not merely aspirational but actionable. Citizens can approach the Supreme Court directly to protect their rights, ensuring that no individual suffers injustice due to arbitrary power or economic disparity. 2. Socialist interpretation through judicial expansion. 9. Judicial activism and Article 21. The Supreme Court has played a vital role in giving socialist content to fundamental rights. Through creative interpretation, it expanded Article 21 to include the right to livelihood, Olga Tellis, right to education, Mohini Jain and Unni Krishnan, right to health, Consumer Education and Research Center, right to shelter, Chameli Singh, and right to a clean environment, MC. Mehta. These rights embody social and economic welfare, the very essence of socialism. 10. Balancing individual freedom and collective welfare. The court has repeatedly emphasized that rights must serve the larger goal of social justice. In Maneka Gandhi v. Union of India, 1978, it linked liberty with equality and fairness, affirming that procedural justice is part of a humane and socialist legal order. Similarly, in Bandhua Mukti Morcha v. Union of India, 1984, the court held that the right against bonded labor and the right to humane working conditions flow directly from the socialist ethos of the Constitution. 3. Integration with directive principles of state policy. 11. Link between fundamental rights and directive principles. Though directive principles, Part 4, are non-justiciable, they complement the fundamental rights by guiding the state toward a socialist welfare order. Provisions like Article 38, promoting social order based on justice, Article 39, securing right to livelihood and equal pay, and Article 43, living wage and decent working conditions, reinforce the socialist interpretation of the fundamental rights. The harmony between these two parts of the Constitution, as recognized in Minerva Mills v. Union of India, 1980, ensures that liberty and equality progress together in the service of social justice. 4. Summary for quick understanding. The fundamental rights establish the foundation of India's democratic socialism by ensuring equality, freedom, and protection from exploitation. Articles 14 to 18 promote equality, Articles 19 to 22 guarantee liberty with justice, Articles 23 to 24 prevent exploitation, and Article 32 ensures enforceability. Through judicial interpretation, these rights have evolved into a comprehensive framework for economic and social democracy. Indian socialism, thus, is not the negation of liberty but its fulfillment through equality and justice. Quick revision notes. Socialism in the Constitution is equal to democratic and welfare-oriented. Articles 14 to 18, social equality and abolition of hierarchy. Articles 23 to 24, protection from economic exploitation. Article 21, expanded to include livelihood, education, health, shelter. Article 32, enforcement of all rights. Judicial activism is equal to instrument for achieving social justice. Directive principles is equal to complementary to fundamental rights. 6. One-line questions and answers for revision. 1. What does the preamble declare India to be? A socialist democratic republic. 2. Which fundamental rights reflect socialism most directly? Right to equality and right against exploitation. 3. What is the purpose of Article 14? To ensure equality before law. 4. Which article abolishes untouchability? Article 17. 5. What is prohibited by Article 23? Forced labor and human trafficking. 6. What is banned under Article 24? Child labor in hazardous industries. 7. Which article guarantees right to livelihood? Article 21, as interpreted by the Supreme Court. 8. How are fundamental rights enforced? Through Article 32. 9. Which case linked socialism with social justice? Minerva Mills v. Union of India, 1980. 10. What type of socialism does India follow? Democratic and welfare socialism. 7. Final connection. The socialist ideal in India's constitution is not an abstract slogan but a living principle woven into the fabric of fundamental rights. It transforms freedom into equality, law into justice, and governance into welfare. By abolishing untouchability, prohibiting exploitation, ensuring equality, and guaranteeing dignity, the fundamental rights convert socialism from an ideology into a lived constitutional reality. Thus, India's socialism is not about state control alone, it is about the moral commitment to uplift every citizen and make freedom meaningful for all. Q.9 The concept of the sovereignty of two masters.